Zobe Sanjeri Badan Shazun Demba Devarisha. Jiden Jemba Jivon Deva Halo Java Tadam Benan Jemba Sanjay Jumden. Bejawa Shaja Tubana Satsam should be Jazucha. Demba Jumden Dishin Shaban Jashamba Yada. Zobe Sanjeri Badan Shazun Demba Devarisha Jiden Jim. Jivon Deva Halo Java Nana Meva Nada Benan Sanjay Jumden Bejawa Shaja Tubana Satsam. Should I just Demba Jumden and the Shinsha Tashu Yanaban Zobe Sanjay Badan Shazun Demba Devarisha Jiden Jamba Jivon Deva Kano Java Nana Meva Nada Menam Demba Sanjay Jumden Bejawa Shaja Tubana Satsam should we just jail. Kandeganya Zoa Jatamasaya Sajan Dena Manage then Dena Church the Zenkaba Jama Namda Gunga Chato Susan Yishija to Sege Tabaji then some Lama Gombo Chonye Jama Change of the Meta Sendo Java Jama Shah Zemo Dijana Seva Yemen Tenje Jama Shah Zelon Gombo to Jachin Tonje Jembe Sonam Yen Yazushin the Jama Shah Tabin the Judge Giving as one that Jedo Tanama Chojo Shidu Jama Shah Trinity Lanya Lavata Rabdo Ne Shinga Gendelaya Charles and one debachi and measure and give up Ranias and the Yonzo de Tenesanja Dema Kamara Meta Massive Chibra Melanoda Agenda on decision of the Drata Sonam de Atom Jessica Covantum Nekin and Datu Gada Nada Chira Latu Siverson and Joan Jovari Show.
To the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond, the full destroyer, the completely perfected, fully living being, perfect knowledge and good conduct, Sugata knower of the world, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Ch15 clan, I prostrate and make offerings and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guided beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Ch15 clan, I prostrate, make offerings and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Ch15 clan, I prostrate, make offerings and go for refuge. When, O supreme among humans, who were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides and said, I am supreme in this world, to you who was and I prostrate. With pure bodies formed supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, to you I prostrate. With the supreme signs, face like spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, the 3 worlds alone. Incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the teacher having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean. To you the one to blessings I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtues which frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality. To that Dharma which pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated will also show the path to the wish. The holy filled qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you the sublime community and tender virtue I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions, subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star mirage, a flame of the lamp, an illusion of rock of jewel above them, a dream of flash of lightning at cloud, see conditioned things as such. Through these merits, may sentient beings obtain the rank of all seeing, subdue the whole false, and be delivered from the ocean of suffering, aging, sickness, and death.
Sanje Jodon Soje Jonon Chanju Padra Dane Jazu Dage Jazo Jebe Tonam Jola Benji Sanje Bubuj. Sanje Jodon Soje Jonon Chanju Padra Dane Jazu Dage Jazo Jebe Tonam Jola Benji Sanje Bubuj. Sanje Jodon Soje Jonon Chanju Padra Dane Jazu Dage Jazo Jebe Tonam Jola Benji Sanje Bubuj. Until the light, through the merit of creed, practicing giving and other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge until enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, through the merit of creed, practicing giving and other perfections. May I quickly attain the state of Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings.
I go for refuge until enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly obtain the state of Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings.
Tamje Jamala Jha, the Londe da Sanje Jumne, and the Shishavan Tachuba, and the Mondo Sanje Ribata Jabota. The Horacio Jiden Jamba Jubon, the Bakalo Juvan, Adam Bena Jetaba Sanje Jumden, the Aso. The Shishawa, the Sonam Dagi Jutum, Gavetsawa, the Machumis of Sugar of the Jemba. Sonam Jeteranam Jishi, Bejas and Jetem, Jimado, Juram, Tonam, Tebema no longer go, Shadow Sigil, Tonam, the one Sejatum Jetemba, Chanjusamban, the Yavu, Pabia Kazana, Jabo, and Yamen, they were Judun, Jabanoma Baba Sonja Major, Sonam Bata, Yanim, Kujata, Chomichi, Kutsumban, so that when you are over so many water, the mother to Nana, number two, water, number two, come on, the medium. Kevajana Manda, the one that should be you also don't want number two, Siva, two, two, and give. She also the one they want the Majum, but the Dutch, Sanjay, then the Asian, and they are born, Yaman, the one. Yanavani Jatalan, the Vessinjatam Janasi, Sala Shuba, the Dame Sanjay, then the which is the Yandavan. Tabeshana Tomageva, Adogeva, Tamageva, Hanson, Singles, Mandeva, Yosu Zova, Yosu Tava, Yosu Chamaya, Tabatoma, Nemeva, Tucheva, Yawatoma, Detoma, Material. Kevan, Sozo, and Yariba, Jumland, Yavasu, Chili, one, and Yavatum, and Yavachu. Zoveshanju, and Jovacheva, Medemba, Major, Devata, Temba, Yuva, War, Tewachi, Never Juba, Juba, Temajeva, Charge of Sonanya Bejish, so Joan Chaba Jabena, Kuno, Jabena, Chemo. Kangia to Zenia, so Natawa, and Jabo Vegetation, and then the Quatam Taba Charles. Yeah, I think the page 373. Establishing that the word only shows the primary of the mind. So now, Chandrakirti, continuously trying to explain that mind only is mind only does not mean that only the mind is truly exists. Other than that, all the external realities do not exist at all. So here the Chandrakirti is saying, mind only means if you compare what makes the three realms existence, what's the human realms existence, and existing with yourself. So the true thing, what makes you existing, what makes the desire realm existing, the material and the consciousness. And then among these two, what is the primary cause of the world to be existing is the mind only. So another thing is the mind only means there is no creator other than the mind.
If there is the creator, the mind is the creator. So yeah, having shown how the rejections of an agent other than the mind is the purpose of the world only, it has been demonstrated that the word only does not negate external reality, object of knowledge. So external reality and the object of knowledge. So this means that so mind only is not rejecting the external reality, and if so, the mind is truly exists. So their object, the form, sound, smell, taste, are not exist truly, means you are rejecting the object of knowledge. There is no eye consciousness to perceive anything. There is no air consciousness, not hearing anything. So does not negate external reality, the object of knowledge. Now the text presents the different explanations based on the stating the primary of the mind of how it is impossible that external reality is being rejected by the word only. So they continuously saying that in the Chandrakirti's root text, just as the word Buddha referred to one who has blossomed into the suchness, so the sutra, the speaker, the mind only, because of the mind is primary in the world. The meaning of the such sutra is not that the matter has no existence. So it's among the two, which one is primary? Among the material and the consciousness. And the consciousness is the primary cause. So, and then the example here is when we say, a Buddha. So the Buddha means one who has expanded complete and totally the knowledge in the ultimate reality. So, and explicitly by the saying that you have expanded your wisdom completely and totally and perfectly into the ultimate truth, which also means that, he has purified all the defilement of the obscurations. So that comes to both. But what it explicitly said is he has perfectly expanded his wisdom in ultimate truth. As the same meaning. If you have perfectly expanded your wisdom in ultimate truth, you have perfectly purified all the defilements. So, and this is comparing with mind only, saying that material and the consciousness both are the cause for the existing of the world, but mind is the primary. For if the Buddha knew the world to be mind only, and on that basis did engage in the rejection of the matter, why then would great ones, the Buddha, proclaim in the same sutra the mind was born from the delusion and karma? So this is a hypothetical. What if Buddha knew the world to be the mind only, there is no other than the mind, and why would Buddha say the consciousness born from the karma and ignorance? So karma here, the bodily actions and the verbal actions are also cause of the consciousness. So when the word Buddha awakened the blossom one, referred to the one who has blossomed into suchness, although the first part of the name awaken, the Buddha awaken, is left implicit. The convention Buddha is still used as epithet for such person. So in that case, the Buddha is awakened is the quality. When you say Shakyamuni is the Buddha, so then epithet is the adjective. Shakyamuni has also perfect his wisdom in ultimate truth. Just so that we should recognize that it is only because the mind is the primary between the matter and the mind in the world that the sutras speak of the world of three ram is being mind only. So when the three ram is mind only, does not mean for the world to be existing, there is no need for the material. Between mind and the speaker, the mind only, leaving implicit the second part of the phrase, what is the primary? In other words, this statement of the mind only preclude the form and so on as a being primary in constituting preclude the form so on the being primary in constituting the three rams. So the three rams to be built or to be existing, and the both mind and the matters is required, but the primary cause is the mind. The creator is the mind. The meaning of the such sutra is not to state that mind alone exists intrinsically. So meaning of the sutra is not to state the mind alone exists intrinsically and to reject the external reality, assert that the matter has no existence. So the meaning of the 10 ground sutras must be accepted without reservations, exactly according to how we have explained it. For if, in accord with your positions, it were the case that Buddha knew the world of the three realms to be intrinsically existent mind only, and on that base did engage in the rejection of the matter in the 10 ground of the sutra, in that case, why then would the Great One proclaim in the same 10 ground sutra that the mind or the consciousness was born from the karma and delusions or ignorance? For he stated, the condition by ignorance, the volitions arises, karma arises, and the condition by the volition of the karma, consciousness arises. Such statement will become untenable. So the Buddha stated in the 10 ground sutra that consciousness is an effect of ignorance and volition. He did not say it has intrinsic existence. Even in general, the Buddha had taught elsewhere that consciousness is both dependently originated and intrinsically existing, given that it is inconceivable for the faultless speaker to adapt to both these positions as his own. So that in the very same sutra, if Buddha rejects the external reality, and he should not be saying that consciousness is born from karma and delusions. So he, because he, accepted to be known to be free from faults, free from mistake. How can he mistake it in very, very same sutra? So we would have to recognize that he adapted the such statement for others' sake, to help lead other spiritual trainees. Here is the reason why both positions cannot be the Buddha's own standpoint, were consciousness to exist by virtue of its own essence, it would not be dependent on ignorance and volitions. So now this is the Prasangika schools, how they see it. If Buddha said consciousness truly exists, intrinsically exists, independently exists, then why would Buddha say consciousness is depending upon ignorance and delusions? Why would Buddha say consciousness arises from karma and delusions? So the fact is the consciousness is dependent upon such factors, and as such, it has no existence by virtue of its own essence. It is certain, therefore, that in no possible manner does consciousness possess intrinsic existence. So just like a floating hair being perceived by someone with eye disorder, we should understand that intrinsically real consciousness is something that exists when the conditions are present for such distortions and does not exist when such conditions for the distortion are absent. This then is the understanding that sequential presentation of the dependent origin is to show how, when there is ignorance, the condition for the distortions, the consciousness comes to exist, and how, when there is no ignorance, consciousness will come to cease. Is stated through the presenting the reverse order of the dependent originations. Having thus presented, the sutra makes extensive statement such as following. Now this is when ignorance is end, consciousness will end. Right. Now this consciousness is particularly, among the 12 links of dependent origination, consciousness which carries all kind of, positive and negative seed or the imprints. The consciousness which carries all the seed of the positive and negative karma, which will cease to exist when there is no ignorance. Right. So that does not mean, so whoever has ended the ignorance had no consciousness. So thus volition possesses the fault of the multiple ill consequences, and when it is discerned with the discriminative awareness as devoid of essence, as unborn and unceasing. So all kind of karma and their consequences will, so will end and not going to be born again, not going to disintegrate again, not going to cycle again, because, so that possibility of end of the multiple karma and the consciousness which carried all the imprints are all seized by the discern with the discriminative awareness, with wisdom, realizing emptiness. So what sane person would, after seeing this statement in this sutra, conceive of consciousness as a substantial existence? No one would. To do so would be because of the philosophical basis grasping at true existence. Only if you have a philosophically misconceived or misunderstood any kind of view, Other than that, who would say, only the consciousness is truly exists, not the material? 60 standards of the reasoning also stated, since the Buddha has stated that the world is conditioned by ignorance, why it is not reasonable to assert that this world is a result of the conceptualizations. If the world is conditioned by ignorance, so world made to be existing by the ignorance, which means the world is part of the thought, part of the misconception. When misconceptions ended, the world of samsara is also ceased in that ultimate truth. And then say, if the world is merely conditioned by ignorance, ignorance is the primary cause for the samsara to be existing, then samsara is nothing but misconception. Since it comes to an end when ignorance ceases, why does it not become clear then what it was conjured by ignorance? So when you are applying through the wisdom realizing emptiness, applying the antidote for the misconception or the ignorance, and then the meaning that you have revealed through the wisdom realizing emptiness is becoming clear and clear and clear. Because the misconception means you're grasping at the conjurations, they're conjured by the ignorance. So, the illusion become, loosened, The point being made here is that if something were to exist by virtue of its own essence, it would exist as the true mode of being. That is, when the delusory perception ceases, it should become clearer and clearer rather than becoming undone altogether. Rather, it become more solid and concrete. So if the wisdom realizing emptiness is the right thought, as revealing the ultimate truth, and by that, your whole, the illusion like object become a more clear and clear. It will disappear in the emptiness, rather than it become more concrete and solid. To make the point that mind is primary, the text says, it is the mind that constructed that vast diversity of the both domains of the sentient being and their universe as well. Now, saying that what is the karma and the delusions, is what is the karma and delusions made, that the world here is referring to sentient being and their universal as well. These are the result of the karma and delusions. The karma and delusion to make this samsaric being and universal planet, So therefore, ignorance is not only cause, it is the only primary cause. And then material is also the cause for that. So this is why karma, ignorance, and the material, the element, create the sentient being and their habitant, the environment. So the both is the result of karma and delusions. The Buddha said that all beings are born of karma. There is no karma without a mind. So therefore, karma and delusions is part of the mind. Even though the matter does exist, material or the element does exist, it has no status of the creator like mind. So elements are not the creator. They are just simply, hired by the mind. It's a labor, So what is the being denied is the creator other than the mind. It is not that matter being negated. So again, same thing, saying that material is not negated from the meaning of the mind only. So meaning of the mind only saying there is no creator other than the mind. The domains of the sentient beings obtains its reality through karma and afflictions accumulated by individual beings themselves, while the vast diversity of their universe, their container environment is constructed or produced by the collective karma, gathered by the mind of the sentient beings. So many sentient beings together, collective karma has conditioned the universal or the planet. This latter, the container of the worlds, spans from the wind mandala base up to the highest heavenly realm of the Aknista. So Aknista is the final, the most top, the peak of the samsara. So from the universal, this desire, from the bottom of the wind mandala, the wind mandala, and up to the peak of the universe or the samsara is Aknista. So we call Homi. As for the remarkable diversity of the features, such as the brilliance of the peacock's feathers, this arises as the product of the unique karma of these sentient beings alone. So this uncommon karma, their own karma. In contrast, the diversity of the petal shapes and the colors that exist among the lotus are produced by the collective karma of the sentient beings. We should extend this same understanding to other cases of diversity as well. So the plant, flowers, the color of the flowers, and the mountains, all are designed by the collective karma. So it's owing to the power of the sentient beings, because of the power of sentient beings' karma, that volcano erupted in their time. So likewise, the weapon and jewel tree are found and held in the higher realms. So because of the power of the sentient beings' karma, the volcano erupted in their time. Because of the power of the sentient beings, there's the weapons and harmful, substance in the hell realm. Because of the power of the sentient beings, there's the jewel tree found in the higher realms. So all are mind, The mind, and with help of the element, and this whole three realms being built or produced. That these two domains, the universe and sentient beings, are produced by the two types of karma, collective and not collective. It's explained in the Chitramata text as well. So even according to Chitramata, it is not the case that there is no container world. Now, when we talk about St. Chittama, the school, mind-only school, so they deny the external realities. So they cannot deny the existence of the form and sound, because they cannot deny the universe or the planet to be existing. You know? Their simplicity is a part of the mind. Thus, the Buddha said that all beings are born of karma, and furthermore, there is no karma without the mind, for it is only with mind that karma is occurred. With mind, the karma is occurred. So karma too is contingent upon mind. So it's all, it's part of the mind, that mind not being able to understand the reality, and therefore mind is projecting its own, mental projections. And mind is the one that, after it's project, mind is the one that grasping in that projections, and then with the help of the elements, and they construct the, hell realm, animal realm, and the human realms, and so therefore, upon the mind, thus through the statement that phrase such as no agent, no experiencers, in some sutra they mention like no agent, no experiencers. The 10 Grand Sutra shows how the word only rejects some other agent, which is the creator or permanent I, and with statement of how all 12 links are dependent on one factor, the mind. The sutras demonstrate how the term only indicates the mind to be primary. The first explanation is a form. Explanation is from a negative standpoint, and the second form is affirmative perspective. So, which means affirmative negations. Mind only means affirmative negations. It negates two things among the material and the consciousness. Material is not the primary cause. By negating that, what is affirming is the mind is the primary cause. So another negation is it is negating there is a creator or independent self other than the mind. The mind is the only exist. Affirmative perspective. In brief, it is the mind that is the primary cause of the activity of the sentient beings, and factors other than the mind are not principal. Among the two, material and consciousness, the mind is the primary cause. Mind is other than the mind, not principal. Therefore, the mind not matters. It is presented in the sutra as a primary. So therefore, even though the matter or the material does exist and is indeed accepted, it has no status of creator of beings like a mind. If there is creator, the mind is creator. Other than the mind, there is no creator. So what is being denied and negated is the creator other than the mind. It is not that external matter is being negated. Some schools, such as the Samkhya school, non-Buddhist, asserted the primary substance to be creator. Then the question here is, and who thinks there is the creator, other than the mind? And Samkhya says, yeah, there is the creator other than the mind, which is called primary substance. Primary substance. to be the creator. And Samkhya school, they don't think that yourself is created by the primary substance. Samkhya school, the creators is creating in the form, sound, smell, taste, textures. Objects are created by this primary substance, not the self. While some Buddhists assert that the mind to be such an agent, so some Buddhists like Vaibhashika school and mind Sautrantika school and the mind-only school, the Vaibhashika school says the consciousness is the agent, or the collection of the five aggregates is the agent. Agent means self. Yeah. And the Sautrantika school says continuity of the consciousness is the agent, it's the person, it is the self. In mind-only schools, the mind basis of all is the person, and it is the self. So mind to be such agents in that matters is not the agent, there is no dispute. In that matter is not the agent, there is no dispute. So when they're examining things such as primary substance that other suspect or they conceive to be the agent, the mind alone, which is the observed to have the characteristic of an agent in the conventional sense. So now here saying that, Chandrakirti said, now this whole kind of, misunderstanding or misconceived, like some say the primary substance is the creator, and then some Buddhists thinks that continuity with mental consciousness is the self of the person, and some Vaibhashika school thinks that the collection of the five aggregates is the primary, it is the self of the person. And then one of the Vaibhashika school says, inexpressible self, which is substantially exist. So now in the Chandrakirti, these all are misunderstood. There's no any truth in there. It's spoken of an agent to eliminate things such as primary substance, which actually do not possess the characteristic of being an agent, or the collection of the body, or the primary substance, or independent self. Because they do not possess the characteristic of being of agent. When the mind is thus spoken of as the agent, within the Buddhists, someone who thinks that mental consciousness or the continuity of the mental consciousness is the self of the person, the primary substance and like are eliminated. So one could say that primary substance and so on have been expelled, and that the disputed territory has been conquered. So Chandrakirti thinks that, using the metaphor, if there's a true king, controlling this kingdom, and they are in the dispute, the true king should fight themselves, other than, allowing people to fight each other. The true king has to fight, and who has win, they keep the kingdom, and others has to go away. Now they're saying, Chandrakirti said, in this case, So there's two kind of thought, belief. The creator of your world is created by the primary substance. And the Buddhist says, no, the mind is the creator. Now they have to debate, and then through the debate, and one who has proven wrong, and just let them go away, and believe the mind is the creator. If there is the creator, mind is the creator. Mind is the primary cause of the existing of the world. And then when you debate with Vaibhashika school, the collection of the aggregates is the self of person, or mental consciousness is the self of person. Then we debate with that, and then by proving them wrong, and then you says there is no agent as a consciousness. There is no agents as a continuity of the mental consciousness. Continuity of mental consciousness, not the person, not the self. And now you says there is no self in consciousness. There's no consciousness being self. So now you have conquered in eliminating all the misconceptions, and what you have conquered, what you have accepted is, if there is creator, the mind is the creator, and mind itself is not a person. Not the eye consciousness, the person, not the air conscious person, likewise, nose conscious, tongue conscious, body conscious, even the mental consciousness is not a person or self. So then, how do you really come to understand the existence of the self? The self is the designation designated by the thought based on the collection of 5 aggregates. So that is, your standpoint. This is your kingdom. So 2 kings are competing to rule the same region. If one loses and is expelled, but happen to find his own land to rule elsewhere, then because they both found what they need, ordinary people will not suffer or harm. Similarly, here too, since both matter and the mind are needed, and furthermore, since there is no harm in accepting the matter, we should conclude that matter too does exist. So yeah. So you understand, right?
I was just reading that part where if one loses and is expelled, but happens to find his own land to rule elsewhere, then because they are both found what they need, then the ordinary people will not suffer. I don't understand that. What that means.
I think there's no need to understand. This is just the way the Lama Tsongkhapa was trying to explain. You have to get rid of the wrong concept and misunderstandings, and then you accept the right thought and the right view. So that's only it. Yeah. If they still want to hold on their misconceptions, right? Then this will continue in other places. You cannot end all the misconceptions in this universe. So because you are trying to, seeking for the right thought and right view, because you want to follow the right view because you want happiness. So then if you want the happiness, if you find the happiness in the right view, and then accept the right view, get rid of the wrong view. Wrong will be lived in other place, in others' mind. I think, this also means that, if you continuously following the Chandrakirtis, Nagarjunas, the Buddha Shakyamuni, and following the Buddha and Chandrakirtis, and the view that you hold in the wrong view, so there is no benefit. It is like the people who suffer under the two powerful king. They are, banging each other, and and people just confused which the person to follow. So your mind is like that. Your mind said, "Oh, Shakyamuni, I go refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha," and then everyday life you go with, wrong view. Sometimes Samkhya school point of view, sometimes Viveka school point of view, sometimes believing in the Creator, So then you suffer. You have no idea. It is like someone who is in the house and trying to get out from the house, couldn't find the door. You just charging or banging on the walls. I want to get out. So if you really want to get out from the house, open your eyes. Where is this door? And open the door and go out. Right? So right now, sentient beings like that. So want to get out, but they couldn't find where is the gateway. So then how external reality and the internal mind are equal with respect to the existence or non-existence. So the internal mind and external materials or external form and the internal mind. Prasangika school says they are equal in existence, they are equal in not existing intrinsically. While remaining within the truth of the everyday world, all five aggregates known to the world do exist. While remaining within the truth of the everyday world, truth of the everyday world. Ch15 is not really truth either. While remaining within the ordinary, everyday world, all five aggregates known to the world do exist. In the ordinary world, in the ordinary perceptions, everyone thinks that what you see through the eye consciousness, is real. It do exist. When we speak of the arising of the nuisance of the suchness, then for the yogis, these five aggregates will be no more. So now kind of saying that internal consciousness and external form are equal in conventionally existing, equal in not existing in intrinsic. So you cannot say one is truly exists, others not truly exist. Then says this is like in the ordinary life, in ordinary perceptions. The form, sound, smell, taste, the textures all exist. They do exist. When the individuals, analyze in the reality and they come to understand the ultimate truth and directly perceiving, the ultimate truth of the phenomena, and from the point of view of the emptiness, and they don't really see the existence of the five aggregates, even the form, smell, taste, textures, not existing. So they're saying that with ordinary perceptions, yes, everything is there. With ultimate wisdom, and objectively, on the objectively viewing the all kind of phenomena, and they found to be not existing, because they do not exist objectively, they exist relatively. Through the wisdom is always trying to see that what is the objectively exist, and finding nothing has objectively exist. Even the form, smell, taste, textures. So no more. So if there is no matter, do not hold that there is mind. So if you think the materials, the forms, and sound and smell is not existing, and you should give up believing the mind is existing. If there is mind, if you think the mind exists, then you should also accept this object of the mind, the form, sound, smell, taste, they too exist. If you believe eye consciousness exists, you should believe the form exists. If you believe eye consciousness exists, you should also believe the sound is exist. If you understood the sound is not intrinsically exist, you also can understand air consciousness too is not exist intrinsically. So thus, just as explained above, while remaining within the truth of the everyday world, so Tsongkhapa is in a conventional world. Maybe truth of the everyday world. External realities such as the aggregates are known to the world. Thus, all five aggregates do exist. However, when we speak of arising of the nuisance of the directly perceiving the suchness, the emptiness, then for the yogi who is in such meditative equipoise, within his own perspective, these five aggregates, such as form, will be no more. They cannot exist because you are seeing objectively, therefore you could not see anything because nothing has ever existed objectively. Given this, if one asserts there is no matter, then do not hold that there is a mind. And if, on the other hand, one indeed assert there is the mind, the internal, then do not hold there is no matter. So external, in other words, if you conceive external matter to be non-existing because it is found to be found to be so, when prompted by reasoning searching for the true reference of the designations. Now he is trying to translate from the Tibetan, because tak dön selva. Tak ten selva. Tak means designations, what you label. And ten means that very meaning, that what you designate. If you examine and you cannot find. So for example, so like ordinary perceptions, thinking I am, that I is my designations, and that meaning of that I said this is human being, and it is it is a human being, and it is Chinese, or it is Indian, or it is Tibetans. And then that's the meaning of that, what you designate. And then that meaning, you search the existing of that meaning within the body, you cannot find, within the feeling you cannot find, within the discrimination awareness, within the emotion, each of the mental factors, like anger, attachment, compassion, faith, all of them totally devoid, even the 5 aggregates are devoid of that meaning. So that's takdön selva, So here, if you conceive external matter to be non-existing because it is found to be so, when prompted by reasoning, searching for the true reference of the designations, the true reference for the designation of I am, and it is, male or female, or which nations, that reference of the designations has never found within the 5 aggregates. So, and then like similarly, saying that the cause-effect relations. So that's the designations. Designation, what you designated is relation of the barley seed and sprout. Then you say that very designation, can this meaning be found during the causal time, during the seed, or during the sprout? And there is no in the between, you can find the meaning of the relation. So the meaning of the relation never found within the basis, which means the designations, it is totally absence, absence in the basis, which means is not objectively groundable within the basis. So to be non-existing because it is found to be so when prompted by reasoning, searching for the true reference of the designations. So the mind and the material, mind and the form, the both are, the mind and the material, the both are, and ordinarily you can, you can perceive, you can understand, from the ordinary perspective, yes, they do exist. Now, if you, if you try to find that very meaning, and objectively, and you cannot find either mind or nor the form. So then in that case, you will have to realize that the inner, the mind, also lacks the existence, because the existing of the both outer and inner lacks such logical evidence. So both legs existing inherently, right? Also given that both are acknowledged by the world, and it is true that through the wisdom, when you objectively analyze, no mind, no form could found, and if you and if you kind of see it through relatively, conventionally, ordinarily, you can find both to be existing, mind and the form. I consciousness exists. The form that perceived by I consciousness, both are existing, conventionally, ordinarily, and I consciousness and the form both, if you objectively analyze, and both are unfindable. If you, the Chitta Mother, conceive the mind to be existence, you must in that case admit matter as well. So therefore, Prasangika school, continuously insisting that you should accept external reality, that in the conventional and ordinarily. The matter being referred to here in relation to the non-existing of the matter in the context of the Chitta Mother's differentiation between matter and the mind with respect to their existing and non-existence. Now, external form and consciousness, so they, differentiate that the consciousness is truly exists, it is exist, and external reality is not exist. This is how the mind-only school, when they so they find that consciousness is existing, the object of the consciousness is not truly existing. Matter in the mind with respect to the existing and non-existing is indeed the matter of the external reality. So when mind-only school, when they think of the mind only, means I consciousness only, means I consciousness only truly exists, and the form is not truly exist. And when they say mind only, therefore, they are not really denying the existing of the form. They simply say the form is not externally exist. So they cannot deny the existing of the form. If they deny the existence of form, they should also accept I consciousness see nothing. Right? So one reads, for example, the line perceptions such as the simple perceptions of the blue come from their own seed with nothing outer to grasp. So now, here the proof of they accept the form, but they deny the external form. And why they accept the form, they say form arises from the seed. The seed of the potential which arises or manifest from the imprints of the consciousness. Form arise from the consciousness. The form which is ripened from the seed, that very seed was there within the consciousness in the mind basis all. So then said, because of that, there is nothing to grasp external. Everything arises from the mind, therefore, nothing to grasp external. In the relevant commentary too, the Chitta Mother writes, with no existence of the external matter, such as blue. Thus, the negation of the matter is qualified with the term external, Again, in the commentary, one reads that having stated how the term only cannot reject the object of knowledge, now to present how it is impossible to negate external object on the ground of the other explanation as well. So the Prasangika saying that, now Chandrakirti says that, when you read the minority school, there try to understand the minority school point of view. When the minority school reject the external form, you should not be saying the minority school rejecting the form. So that Chandrakirti says, you should not say the minority school deny the form to be existing. You have to say the form is existing for the minority school because they think form is arise from the seed, which was, as a potential within the consciousness. So in the demonstrating how the rejection of the matter is not the intent of the sutra. So in demonstrating how the rejection of the matter is not the intent of the sutra, Chandrakirti denies the matter that is being denied by Chitramata as external reality. So Chandrakirti denies the matter that is being denied. Chandrakirti denies the matter that is being denied by the Chitramata as external reality. So I think the point is the Chandrakirti, believes the minority school accept the form, but they deny the form is external. Also, if one reads literally the Chandrakirti's phrase, having stated how the term only cannot negate the object of knowledge, one would also have to say that he sees the Chittamatas as asserting that the word only in the mind only negates the object of knowledge itself. So, if you think the minority school denying the object of eye consciousness, which means, you also have to accept the minority school, minority schools do not accept, there's the object of eye consciousness. There is the any conceivable object for the eye consciousness. Then, in that way, you have, when you present the minority school, and you will almost say that in the minority school, I do not seize anything. Air consciousness do not hear any sound. Tongue consciousness do not taste any, any food. Furthermore, in the presenting the argument for the foundation consciousness, summary of the great vehicle says that with respect to the appropriations of the physical organs by fetus, when the fluid have already merged, it is incorrect to assert that there exists no fruitional effect consciousness that is separate from that fetus. So minority school also accept there's a consciousness entering in the mother's womb and join in physical form. You can also just the consciousness enter in the form and consciousness born from the mother's womb, without any form. So maybe there's no, and then there's no happy birthday. so no one says there's becoming, nothing is come. physical organs, which means eye sense power, mind-only school should accept eye sense power. Mind-only school should accept form, but they deny they are external. They deny this form has, has produced or built from the, external elements or the particles, the atoms. They deny the form and the eye sense powers and form are, produced from the collection of the material, because they accept the form is manifest or it just arises from the imprints. Fruition effect consciousness is separate from that fetus. The emergence of the consciousness and name and form. So minority school also accept name and form. The first, emergence of consciousness with physical form, new body. Emergence of the consciousness and name and form. So name and form here is name referring to the consciousness, and form is physical. New physical body and consciousness join. So which functions in mutually supporting manner. So minority school also accept, physical organs and the consciousness has a functionally mutually supporting. And then says, what is that mutually supporting means? Or like a beam and a house. This I don't know, beam and the house, I don't know. So in Tibetan, maybe he translates literally. So Dumkim. When you build a house for the roof, right? When you start building the roof, there's many, beams together connected to hold the roof. So when the ribs of the beam that holding each other in order to protect the roof, right? So like human being to be perform the functions, the consciousness and the organs, supporting each other's, then human being can say things, human beings be standing up and sitting down. So these are all possible when the consciousness and the organs are, functioning or supporting each other or connected. So it's like the ribs of the beams holding each other's. In this way, the consciousness and the organs are mutually depending. Would not be possible if there were no fruitional effect of the consciousness. To assert that Ch15 does not accept the material phenomena at all, would directly contradict these above statements. Now saying Chandrakirti is, presenting, the minority school, thoughts, saying that this is the minority school. Minority school never reject, never deny any organs, any form, any sound or smell. They simply deny or reject. They are external. So external means, other than the mind, there is sometimes, there is the collection of the atoms or the particles, by collectively, forming physical form and sound and smell. That part is minority school. That's not true. It's all arise from the seed of the mind. So for those who assert, appears to the maintain, appears to maintain that if one accepts the material phenomena, one must admit external reality as well. Now this is Chandrakirti saying now. Prasangika school said, if you accept the material form, you should also accept, external reality. Because in the Prasangika school, the meaning of external means is something that you experience outside of the consciousness. That is the only meaning in the Prasangika school. So this is why from the beginning, there's minority school, the Prasangika school says, yes, there's, for example, and you awake during the awake from the sleep, see things, or seeing things in the dream are the two different things. One with open eye, you're seeing form. One without opening eye, you're seeing, So without opening eye, in the dream, things that you see may not be, you can say it's not external. It is just reflects from the imprints. And how can you say this is the same? When you open eye, everything that you see is like exactly a dream. It reflects from the imprints. If you don't see this much difference with open eye and without open eye, and why? So how, in what condition can you say the blind man cannot see anything? But blind men also see things in the dream. Why he cannot see through his eyes that reflects from the imprints, from the mind-based all. So what is causing them to not being able to see things? So Chandrakirti is saying that one must admit external reality as well. So please do not speak contrary to what is in fact their statement. Namely, although we accept arising of the name and form conditioned by the consciousness, we do not accept external reality in any case. So if you want to present the minority school, you have to present correctly. In any case, when it comes to presentations of the unique tenets of the Chittamatra, now Chandrakirti is praising the minority school, saying this is the unique tenets of the Chittamatra. Now, I think after having beaten up so badly, and then he praised the Chandrakirti and Chittamatra, there appears to the many people who speak in such contradictory terms. With respect to the scriptures too, we should understand in the following manner how both external object and internal cognitions are treated equally insofar as their existence and non-existing is concerned. The root text reads, in the Wisdom Sutras, the Buddha rejects them equally. In Prajaparamita Sutra, is saying, in the Wisdom Sutra, the Prajaparamita Sutra, Buddha rejects them equally in ultimate level. But in the Abhidhammas, he speaks of the existing of both. In the Sutantaka school says external and the consciousness both are truly exist. In the Prajaparamita Sutra says consciousness and external reality both are not equally, not intrinsically exist. So then Chandrakirti is saying that you can understand, Sutantikas are very realistic, because the external and consciousness both are intrinsically exist. And the Prajaparamita Sutta says both are not equally intrinsically exist. So how are you in the middle, Chitamada? Consciousness truly exists, form is not truly exist. Even after you have undone the structures of the true truth, the substantial reality you assert remain unproven. Thus you should know that the form, their very outset, phenomena are unborn in the reality, but born in the terms of the world. So Chandrakirti is saying that through the minority schools, you have destroyed the whole structures of the true truth. Even the Sutradhika school, we can really, they are reasonable because the eye consciousness and external realities, the both are truly exist to them. So that's, and the Prajaparamita Sutras, both are equally not intrinsically exist. So Chittamatra is in the middle saying, eye consciousness truly exists, external realities not exist. So in that way, you are destroying the structure of the true truth. So even after you have undone the structure of the true truths, substantial reality you assert remain unproven. Substantial reality of the consciousness you haven't really proved yet. Thus you have know that the form, their own outset, phenomena are unborn in the reality, but born in the terms of the world. So every phenomena are, unborn, non-exist, and intrinsically, and born and exist, conventionally. With respect to all five aggregates such as form, the Buddha in the Wisdom Sutras rejects them equally. That is, he negates the intrinsic existing of all five aggregates. In Heart Sutra and many Prajaparamita Sutras, even the five aggregates are absence of intrinsic existence. So one reads, for example, Subodhi maybe. Form is empty of intrinsic existence. Consciousness is empty of intrinsic existence. But in the Abhidhamma, Siddhantika school, on the other hand, he speaks of the existing of all five aggregates equally in terms of unique and uncommon characteristic, and so on. So, in the Siddhantika school, the five aggregates, the consciousness and the form, are both intrinsically exist because form defined through its own characteristic. So there's uncommon characteristic. Form is proven or defined through its own characteristic, not for the characteristics of consciousness. I consciousness is existing from its own characteristic. So the uncommon characteristic. So that is for the Siddhantika school to think that both consciousness and form are truly exist. So on. Therefore, since it has been established through scripture and the reasoning that both external reality and inner experience are equally non-existing on the ultimate level, equally existing on the conventional level, the opponent Chittamatra will have torn down the structure of the true truth. So even after you have undone the true truth in such manner, Chittamatra, the substantial reality you assert, namely the dependent originations, dependent natures, remain unproven. So you haven't proved the other power natures, particularly the consciousness, truly exist. Why is this so? Since substantially real dependent natures has been refuted many times before. So Chandrakirti said, you don't remember that I have proven so many times, so there is no other power natures. There is no other power nature as a truly existing, So I have proven so many times, which is not really realistic. Your effort will be pointless if you still, coming back and saying the consciousness truly exists, form is not truly exist, and your effort is pointless. To avoid undermining the system of the true truth, you need to accept that dependent nature does not exist on the ultimate level, but on the conventional. So you should, to avoid that, distortion of the true truth, system of the true truth. To understand the true truth as it is, you should accept all the conditional phenomena do not exist ultimate level, and they exist conventional levels. That the Chittamatra stated in accordance with stages of the explanations offered above, you should know that phenomena are, from their very outset, unborn in the reality, but born in terms of the everyday conventional of the world. This passage indicates how the non-arising of things is accepted on the ultimate level, while their arising is maintained on the conventional level. Therefore, it is essential to qualify what is being negated. Yeah? Any questions? That's all. I read it now.
It seems a little clearer when you talk about Sautrantika having equally substantial existence for the consciousness in the external reality, and the contradiction with mind only not having them the same, that one is substantial, the mind is substantial, and the external is well, they kind of say it's non-existent, right?
What?
The external phenomena are non-existent. And then Prasangika is, I'm having a hard time saying it. Anyway, is not substantial, for both. They're equally not substantial.
Yeah. So here the text or the scripture they're referring, Abhidhamma text and the Prajaparamita Sutra. So Abhidhamma text saying that mind and the material both truly exist. And that's how the Sautrantika school follow, They think consciousness and the material both are truly exist, intrinsically exist, truly exist. So there is no differentiations They don't really discriminate. And the Prajnaparamita Sutras, the followers, particularly the Prasangika school and the Prajnaparamita scripture, saying that consciousness and the material is equally not exist intrinsically, equally exists conventionally. So therefore, you have there your own understanding of the structure of the true truth. So both have this. So now saying mind-only school in the middle, and you have really destroyed the structure of the true truth. You are saying the consciousness only is truly exists. The external reality does not exist. There is no external form. So that means you don't really have, the real understanding of the true truth. So then, my prasanga is get out. So I rather talk with Siddhantic school.
Go to your own country.
Yeah, okay. Chanju Semje Rinpoche, Majebana, Jeju, Jebanyamba, Meva, Kone Konto, Peverisha, Tony Tawa Rinpoche, Majebana, Jeju, Jebanyamba, Meva, Kone Konto, Peverisha, Pama Semje Tamje, Dedan Denju, Nedrotamje, Tado Ton, Chanju Semba Kanda, Sushu, Tedaguni, Molom Jojo, Kareja Rupa Rishivan, Penda de Wama, Jung, Jerison, one thing, Shabe, Sideba, Danger.
May the precious Bodhi mind not yet born arise or grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. May the precious mind realize the emptiness, not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. Due to all these merits, may all Father, Mother, sentient beings have all the happiness, and may all the lower realms be emptied forever. Wherever there are bodhisattvas, may all their prayers be accomplished immediately. In the sacred land surrounded by snow mountain, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. O powerful Ch15, remain in this world until samsara.
Thank you very much.